Moms, what is the number one thing that you need to know as you prepare for birth? As a prenatal and pediatric chiropractor, you might expect me to say it's this. It's your pelvis alignment, it's your hips being prepared, it's your low back feeling good throughout that journey. And yes, that stuff is important. It makes a huge deal, and it can be a part of a really healthy, thriving pregnancy. But that is not the most important thing. There's something that is even more impactful than that. A lot of moms are going through this pregnancy journey trying to do everything right. You're juggling appointments, you're taking all your vitamins, you're doing your birth prep classes, and you kind of feel like you're white knuckling this pregnancy. You feel like you're holding on for dear life just trying to survive. What isn't talked about enough is how important your stress system is. How you can regulate your stress hormones has a huge impact on not just you as a mom, but that is a huge part of your baby's brain development as well. Your nervous system is the air traffic control center of everything in your body, and it's what runs that journey. It's what gets you through the pregnancy experience and then birth in as best of a way and most positive an experience as possible. And that is the missing piece that can change everything. So moms, listen in. This is what this video is all about. We're talking about the nervous system and how that is something that is overlooked for a lot of people and how it can be a huge factor for you, your birth experience, and your baby in those early months and years of life. So let's first understand it, right? Your nervous system is your baby's first teacher. There's these two different modes that your body can operate under, and that is what we refer to as the gas pedal versus the brake pedal. That gas versus brake balance can also be referred to as the sympathetic and the parasympathetic sides of your nervous system. Don't worry about the fancy terminology. The takeaway is this. That gas pedal, that sympathetic mode, that is your fight or flight. That is your survival instinct or your survival response. And it's okay to be in that fight or flight mode temporarily for short periods of time. That's what it's designed for. The problem is where most people end up dealing with issues is when we get stuck there. When we get stuck in stress, that brake pedal really gets down-regulated and it gets shut off. And your brake pedal is what regulates your heartbeat, your digestion, your sleep, your immune system function, your energy, your stress response. All of that is automatically happening behind the scenes every single day. So when this is off, there's going to be wide-ranging consequences. We need this to be in sync for everyday life, for every single human, but especially in the birth experience and going through pregnancy. This matters for everything. When you're stuck in that stress, in that gas pedal mode, we start to deal with problems. Because birth isn't just a physical experience. Birth is a neurological process. Labor begins in more of a brake pedal, calm, safe mode. We need to be safe. Moms feeling safe during their pregnancy journey has a positive impact on the time for labor, the bonding that happens afterwards, the baby health. It is massive. So we need to be in that safe, regulated place, but we switch over. We switch into that gas pedal mode once we hit a certain point in labor, and then we need to shift into more of an intense, high, not high pressure, but kind of on edge experience, right? Your body needs to be ramped up a little bit. Yes, you need to feel safe. You need to be able to have that oxytocin release that lets you bond and engage and connect with baby, but there is a little bit more of that gas pedal mode being turned on. So this balance in birth, like I said, it's everything for short labor, for strengthening that bond after birth, really for lowering the pain and the intensity of what you're experiencing in that labor journey as well. So when this gets out of balance, it's going to be huge for mom, but also for baby, because baby's nervous system is everything that yours is. All of the hormones, all the experiences that you are having from that stress regulation perspective, that's the only thing they know as well. We see that babies whose pregnancies had more of that gas pedal stress response to it, or if the birth process had that, right? Maybe birth had more interventions. There was forceps or vacuum or C-section delivery or Pitocin, and labor was too fast or was too slow. All of those different factors contribute to a baby's nervous system that is more in stress, that is more in gas pedal. And we see that having so many impacts, so many consequences for a little one. They end up way more fussy, reflux and constipation, colic, latching and nursing challenges, and that's just that first couple months of life. We see that foundation lead to older kids dealing with ear infections or motor and speech delays, tummy time troubles, tons of downstream neurological challenges that get started in that pregnancy and birth experience. So this regulation is huge for you, mom, and it's huge for baby, and this is what no one is talking about, right? You have all of these different monitoring and checkpoints and procedures and assessments during your pregnancy, but never this. No one is ever measuring and assessing the nervous system. You're screening for all those other complications and skipping the foundation of it. That is where neurologically focused chiropractic really steps in. That is our whole focus at Thrive, is making sure that the patients that we care for, specifically that pediatric and prenatal population that our focus is, making sure their nervous systems are adapting to stress, making sure that you are not hanging on by a thread, mom. You are not going through that pregnancy and into new mom life journey with nothing in the reserve tanks. We need to be in a well-adapted, well-regulated state so that you can be surviving pregnancy, let alone the birth process and postpartum as well. That's what we do at the office. We do scan. We do assess and measure that stress response, and we find out, how are we doing? Are we hanging in there? Do we got a lot of adaptability? Do we have a regulated system, or are we already tapped out and hanging on by a thread? That's what one of our scans does. It's called HRV, or heart rate variability. Then we have an infrared thermography and a surface electromyography scan that let us hone in on where within your nervous system are those primary stresses. And you can probably guess this, but yes, of course, moms, these are all completely radiation-free, completely safe to do during pregnancy. There's nothing going into your body. We're just taking snapshots, collecting that data from it, and seeing how are you fighting against stress? How is your body doing? So this is the biggest missing piece. You're told to monitor stress. You're told to regulate stress in that pregnancy journey, but you're not told how to check in, how to know where you're at, or what to do about it. We got to pump the brakes from the inside out. We got to calm that fight or flight tone neurologically inside first, so that then on the outside you can process and handle life even better. So that's what we're here for, guys. Yes, this stuff matters, right? I want your hips and your low back to be feeling good. That is a massive side effect or bonus of chiropractic, but that's just not the point. We want your pelvis to be aligned. We want you to have as smooth of a labor experience as possible, but that happens not just from calming tight muscles and correcting pelvis alignment. That comes through unwinding stress response. It comes from calming down that fight or flight mode and just helping you handle stress better. Please reach out if you have questions on that, if you want to dig into that more, if you want to learn more about the scans, or just reach out and get that appointment set up. We are here for you. Call our team. We'll be happy to set it up. We're going to start with those scans. We're going to dig into your case history, what your goals for that pregnancy and birth experience are. We'll do those scans and then put together a game plan specific for you and specific towards your goals of what we need to get accomplished. Thanks for listening, moms. I hope that helps. I hope you're having an amazing pregnancy, and we can't wait to meet you soon and help your family thrive.